All right. Welcome to another YouTube video. All right, so I decided to make this video because I recently just got certified as a personal trainer. Yay. That was awkward. That was weird. That's cringe. I know. But yeah, I wanted to make this video because I was a student at a school called InfoFit, and I actually made a video on my review of the school. So if you want to check that out, you guys can check out my fitness channel. This is more of my experience and how I was as a student at InfoFit. So I found the school, online, and I was like, you know what, I have to go to this school. So I went there the first day, and immediately I was like, you know what, I'm going to converse with people. I'm going to communicate with people. I'm going to be like, yes, I'm going to be very social, right? Because it's been a while since I've been at school. Like I think it's 2016 last time I was in school for photography. So it's been a while. So when I went in, I don't know if it's because of COVID, but it just seemed like nobody really wanted to talk. So maybe it's first day, of course, everyone's kind of nervous and stuff like that. And then I met a few people that I kind of vibed with throughout like pretty much the whole course. But the first part was like anatomy, and I was just like, first week, I was like, yeah, let's get it. So the first couple of weeks, I was like doing well, it was this and that. And all of a sudden, like, it was like struggles. I was falling behind and I was really, really stressing every day. I was like, man, I am stressing, like literally stressing. And then I got sick. I missed one of my exams and I was just like, oh man, like, my God. It was just one of those things where I was just like struggling. And yeah, so I was just like off and on and off. It was just like, and then at some point I kind of lost my momentum and I started becoming more shy. And that's when the first teacher, she left because we learned everything from her. The other teacher came and I was kind of in that state where I was like, I'm falling behind and I'm losing it and I am just completely off, right? And I was just like, oh man, right? And I was just like, yeah. So I didn't talk much from that time to the rest of the course. And it was very odd because normally I can be very social. And this time I was just very quiet. I think maybe it's like in sports where you start, you're doing really well, and all of a sudden you get into like a funk, and all of a sudden you're just like, oh man, like you start to have this limited mindset. And that's what happened to me. Like I even had to talk to my teacher and be like, like I'm falling behind. I don't know what's going on. And then he has ended up giving me some better tips. And that actually really helped me a lot in terms of like progressing and helping me just improve. But before that, like it was just tough. And I really went through a lot just mentally. And I didn't really show that to anybody, but it was very mentally draining just coming into class. Some days I didn't even want to go to class. It was like, man, I don't even know what I'm doing. And I'm just coming into class. I'm asking some questions. I'm asking the teacher, like, I don't get it. And yeah, it's just like, but it's funny because every single time that I went into class, all this fear that I had in my head wasn't real. Like it wasn't not real. I would come into class, I'd do fine, right? I would do an exam, I'd do fine. Like all this fear, it was just in my head. So I was really, really in my head. It took me a while to kind of get out of my shell. And at the end, I slowly started to get out of my shell, but it was very, very odd. It wasn't something normal of me. So it kind of sucks because the people there didn't really get to know who I really was. Like, I really wish that I could have been more of myself, but it is what it is. Sometimes you live and you learn. And yeah, but my overall experience, going back to school, it taught me that you have to be disciplined. You have to put in the work outside. And I generally do well in the real world, but in terms of like school, I've always had this like weird stigma, like, man, like school, studying, this and that. Cause it's kind of like it's meant to be like a simulation like of the real world, but it's not the real world. So when you're in the real world, you can kind of like figure out what to do and you can kind of like navigate through. Whereas in school, it's like they encourage you to make mistakes. It's this kind of thing. So I guess I was a little intimidated by that, just the concept of like make mistakes while you're in school. I think that's something that I struggled with in terms of like my schooling, I guess, abilities. And also, I'm a little bit of a slow learner, so it does take me some time to learn. So sometimes I will be sitting there and I will just sometimes be writing notes, or I'll be there and I'll just lose the person. Or sometimes I daydream a lot for some reason. So I will lose a teacher and then all of a sudden, like, I'm like, wait, what? What just happened? Right. So those are the types of things that I struggled with. But slowly at the end, I found like a group of people that I really liked. There was one dude who was also very knowledgeable in terms of like this space, and way more knowledgeable than me. So I used to talk to him a lot. He used to teach me a lot, and he was really, really cool. And I think he's gonna get certified very soon. So looking forward to that as well. But yeah, it was one of those things where like this is something that like I generally just try to share, being transparent in a way, but I like to share these because it shows an example of like raw humans. Like you guys probably see me on YouTube and probably think, oh yeah, no, like this guy is like super extroverted. I'm actually an introvert in real life. So being in that space, I was very like off and I wasn't myself. And it's a learning experience, right? Because it made me realize that I have a lot of work to do in terms of my own self, and I have a lot of even my social game. My social game used to be like amazing before. Then now, like last year or two, my social game has kind of changed. It could be because I was in e-commerce and just in front of a computer the whole time, but I do need to improve in that space. So there's a lot of things I need to improve. And in my studying, actually, I developed a mental toughness to study. I would have to sit down and study. Like this kind of stuff intimidates me, especially if I don't know something. So that was an interesting thing. And I don't know if there's anything else I can share, but the teachers were very helpful. The school was very proper, organized, and it was one of those things where I there's not much I can say. So I have more to say about this school than my actual experience. I was not a perfect student. Like I would say I was an average student. Like I wouldn't even say it was average. I would say below average. I do have high standards for myself, so I'm gonna say below average because the start was very tough for me, but I did end off on a high. So I guess it was like I guess myself, if I rated myself, I'd probably say a 6.5. But yeah, it was interesting experience. Like going back to school, learning. Now I'm certified. So they do have another program. I think it's like a nutrition program. So I'm definitely going to look into that as well. But yeah, I just wanted to make this video because I know a lot of you are probably going back to school, or maybe you're considering going to school. And this was my personal experience. If I could change anything, I would maybe have changed my social game. But at the same time, too, I was very focused on what I was doing. And I was really just trying to figure out what to do because at the end of the day, school is school and I need to thrive in the real world as well. So that's what I think I would have done better. So, and also not panic as much and not stress as much about school. So that's it for that. I think overall, like, it was very helpful. The school was it was great school. Reviews, of course, on the other side. But yeah, if you guys want to know anything else, let me know. I can let you in on that because again, like it wasn't easy for me. Like it was not an easy thing. Like I would be home and I would just be studying, and sometimes it would be very tough to study because I would just the content might be just really dry and just like man, like I would just be like I want to get out of this. I don't want to do this anymore. So end of the video. If you guys enjoyed, hit the like button, subscribe, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Don't forget to stay authentic. Peace.